Joining us now with some thoughts on this, we've got Eric Yaverbaum, who's president of Ericho Communications and co-founder of ReadToVote.org. Great to have you on board.
It's nice to be here as always.
Thank you. And Rich Miniter, who's a Republican strategist and author of Mastermind, The Many Faces of 9/11 Mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Losing Bin Laden and Shadow War. Several books.
Oh, yeah.
Great to have you on board. I know you have a wealth of information to share with us. First off, let me get your thoughts on the leadership, the hierarchy. Where does it go from here, do you think? Do you think that a severe dent is now put upon Al Qaeda at this point so that it is going to be completely unraveled?
I think this is a severe blow to Al Qaeda for two reasons. One, the blow is psychological. For many years on jihadi websites, Al Qaeda websites, they thought that bin Laden was invulnerable, that he was protected by Allah and U.S. forces could never hurt him. Clearly, that's no longer the case. The aura of invincibility is gone. Secondly, the blow is financial. Sudanese intelligence used to refer to bin Laden as a moving bank, a living vault. That vault is now gone. Bin Laden had unique financial relationships with oil sheikhs, not just in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, but across the Arab and Muslim worlds. There's no one who has those kind of relationships, forged over decades of falcon hunting and other recreational activities where he has deep bonds. That just cannot simply be replaced. I think Al Qaeda splits into several dangerous regional pieces. I think it's very unlikely that Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri takes over, even though he's the number two, for two reasons. One, he's Egyptian. He brought in his own group, Egyptian Islamic Jihad, and merged into Al Qaeda in 1998. And part of that deal was that his Egyptians were paid $100 more a month than anyone else in the organization. Now that sounds like a small difference, but it really rankles. And the other thing that really rankles is his people got health care, the other people didn't. Now again, this sounds really petty in office politics, but when you bear in mind these people have multiple wives, we're having multiple children, the issue of whether they give birth at home or in a proper hospital, they see their Egyptians who work alongside them in the office get to go to the hospital and their wives don't. This is a major point. Also, the personal style of Zawahiri, he doesn't relate well to Gulf Arabs especially. So there's that tension. I think it's unlikely that he'll be able to take over.
So you're saying like Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula and the groups that are out in Yemen and those areas may not be necessarily bonding with al-Zawahiri.
That's right. I think, in fact, Wabashi, who runs Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, could likely take over. He's got Anwar al-Awlaki, the American-born imam, as a tremendous propaganda megaphone. He's been very good at recruiting people. Remember, he's there in the northern reaches of Yemen. He's protected by mountains. The Yemeni army and the Saudi army can't get at him. He has training camps, and it's very easy to recruit people from Saudi Arabia, from Yemen. They don't have to go all the way to Afghanistan. So his forces have been growing. The number of attacks he's been able to carry out has been increasing. So his star is definitely rising in the Al Qaeda galaxy.
What about that point, Eric, on the part about the psychological blow to the organization?
The psychological blow, by the way, swings both ways. Big blow to them, big uplift to us. I mean, we actually, just what we did, we backed up everything that we've been saying for the last 10 years. Is it really true that you can't hide anywhere? Because he could, but we got him. I think it's a huge, huge psychological swing for the country. I think it's a great opportunity for Republicans and Democrats to all share something in common for once. It's been a very long time. And I think that people are feeling that the glass is half full because of this today.
No, I think it certainly has made a huge impact on our country. And it, again, brings you back to the whole concept of American exceptionalism and reminds everybody.
Well, yeah, suddenly, you know what? Superpower, yeah, maybe, again.
Yeah.
What's interesting, the operation was called Geronimo. Of course, it took us almost 10 years to get Geronimo, who's hiding out in the hills and mountains for so many years, crossing back and forth between the Mexican and American borders. Very similar situation. Apparently, we haven't gotten any better since the turn of the 19th century.
All right, let's talk about Pakistan for a moment. Certainly, a lot of questions. I've been reading reports back and forth where Pakistan is saying it didn't know anything about it, and then there are some reports saying that it did know. Certainly, the United States has to do a diplomatic dance and show that Pakistan was on board publicly because a lot's at stake for that country.
Well, so does Pakistan. I mean, that Washington Post piece this morning, which from the president of Pakistan, was very, very, very strong, saying we helped, we were involved, we wanted this guy dead too.
Right. And
well, let's translate that into English.
Well, I know.
Please send us your billions of dollars.
There
Keep sending.
There you go.
No, I mean, look at the Pakistani military requests. They're requesting, and they say this is for counterterrorism. They're requesting anti-submarine warfare, deep sea ocean mines, anti-aircraft missiles. Al Qaeda doesn't have an air force or a submarine fleet, and doesn't have a deep.
Absolutely,
it's ridiculous. Now, of course, India does, which is Pakistan's principal enemy. We've been arming and equipping these people for a very long time, and they didn't even have the decency to hand Bin Laden over to us in a timely manner. We had to find them the hard way.
So from your point of view, there's no. You believe certainly this. People in the Pakistani government had to know that Bin Laden was right there in their own backyard.
Let's walk through the evidence really quickly. Number one, the Taliban is created by the Pakistani intelligence service, the ISI, in 1994. No one disputes that, right? All right. So the Taliban was the principal ally of Al Qaeda. They were a key network and resource for them. The other network that Al Qaeda relied on after 9/11 is the Haqqani network, also funded and controlled by the ISI. You look at all the key lieutenants of the 600 or so high-level Al Qaeda who've been killed or captured anywhere in the world. More than 2/3 of them have been killed or captured in Pakistan. Almost all of them, one in fact, was killed in the house of a Pakistani major. When Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the subject of my book Mastermind, when he was captured, he's the guy who planned the 9/11 attacks, he was captured in the home of a former member of the parliament of...
Right.
All right. Then we have brothers captured who were connected to the 9/11 plot. And they have photographs of Bin Laden posing with the Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif at the time, Prime Minister of Pakistan. So clearly there's a lot of interconnections here between the Pakistan elite and the Al Qaeda terror network.
So would you say, based on net, they knew for a long time that he's there?
They would have to be taking IQ-reducing pills of mountainous size not to know.
Well, particularly the structure that was built in the neighborhood that it was built in. I mean, the fact that it was stood out very prominently and was so different than anything else in that neighborhood. And it was fortified. Nobody was seen coming and going, and they didn't have internet or phone access.